The RPM Podcast, bringing you the most important racing news.
Do you like your hot dogs grilled or boiled? I prefer water dog.
You never go wrong with dirty water dog.
Right? It's always consistent.
I like the other one better. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the RPM Podcast. Got Sam Ballard Jr. cracking up from UNCC, right? That's what they say? University of North Carolina in Charlotte. You went to another C this past Saturday. Oh, Concord. Concord Motor Speedway.
That one. It's not pronounced Concord.
Concord.
Yes.
We also got Nero at the third and Josh Matthews.
Yo.
And I'm Eric Brennan, but that's not important.
No, it's not.
What is important, and I think we all could agree that this may be the lead thing that we're going to talk about, and it's sad and it sucks, but it's just something that I think we all want to take a moment to acknowledge. Sam, I'm not sure where you were when you heard the news on Saturday, but longtime modified racing legend Ted Christopher was killed in a plane crash this Saturday. Christopher was on his way from Connecticut, where he's been competing for the Stafford Motor Speedway SK Modified Championship, to the NASCAR Tour Modified event at Riverhead Raceway. The plane apparently went down in a southern point of Connecticut, and unfortunately Christopher, along with the 81-year-old pilot, did not survive. At Wall Stadium, the news began to break a little bit around 4:30, and Earl Krause wasn't there. He was actually at New Jersey Motorsports Park, and it was really me, Gary Larson, Jeff Gravatt, and we were all pulling at everything we could to try to get some type of confirmation on it, because Teddy means a lot to not only people who knew him or didn't know him, but we're part of that short track family up here in the Northeast, where a lot of guys knew him personally. And we knew that everyone was kind of getting the news in their own way, but it wasn't till about 6:15 that I had some sources from Speed 51 and Auto Week that I've been able to put it out, and we made the announcement to the crowd. And it was one of the toughest things I ever had to talk about. And I didn't know TC personally. I did have a chance to meet him. So, I mean, I guess you could say that we knew who each other, we knew who we were, but we weren't friends in that sense. And I'm actually more grateful I had the chance to talk to him when I did. But I feel a sense of loss, and I think we all do. And the guy paved the way for a lot of what we see every Saturday. And I honestly feel that the short track racing world, particularly in the modifieds, is now going to be different. And I'll cite something that Doug Coby said. There will be many winners at all the modified racetracks. There'll be many winners at the Connecticut tracks where TC was so good at. But those wins just may not mean as much as they did when he was in the field, because you were guaranteed to be beating the best. And it hurts, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family. And also, I saw that O'Neill Designs on a local level printed up some decals that Eric and Jeff Lane will be giving out this Saturday at the track. And also 32signs.com, and that's spelled out 32signs.com, has shirts and stickers that are for sale, with the proceeds going to the Christopher family. Sam, I don't know what it was like for you down in North Carolina, because you were at a racetrack when that news spread, and I'm not sure if anybody else wants to chime in on the legacy that was Teddy Christopher, but this one hurts.
For being down here and out of the Northeast, it was more the fact that we lost a wheel and modified champion, which is a bigger impact. You kind of realize how successful TC was. I walked into Concord, and that's when I found out it was actually official. I was getting ready to walk in, and I heard it over the loudspeaker. I mean, it's a sad thing. It's a sad way to go. He spent his whole life sitting in a race car, and you thought maybe one day, his luck will break, and maybe he'll go in a race car doing what he loves. But it's sad.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard for all of us. One of the best nicknames that Teddy had was 3-tap Teddy, which is a rule that a lot of drivers now adopt. And, of course, if you're not familiar with what it means, 1 tap's let you know you're there. 2nd tap's let you know I want to get by. 3rd tap, you're probably going around. So, and there are a lot of people who live that way. Yeah, through the fence. And to touch on something that Sam said, I mean, when you look at a guy who made his career and made a life out of, along with his brother Mike, just out of racing on a local level, just same along the lines of like Steve Kinzer, just in an asphalt modified. I mean, the guy was great at what he did. And, just going back to some of the people who I spoke to on Sunday who knew him personally, I mean, their hearts are hurting because you never expect this. He's just one of those guys, just like your Dale Earnhardt type guy, tough. I mean, this year raced with a fractured wrist after crashing in New Hampshire, and nobody knew about it unless you saw him in the pit area with the cast on his arm. And he still went out there and was winning and finishing in the top 3. And just a couple weeks ago, was in a scuffle with Rowan Pennick over an SK win at Stafford. I mean, the guy was tough as nails, and to have him taken away like this, it does hurt. But the racing world will move on. And hats off to Waterford and Riverhead, who did their own honors, allowing the cars that he raced to be passed around the track for a victory lap. Also at Wall Stadium, we put TC's number up on the scoring pylon at the end of the night to pay tribute to him, and that meant a lot to a handful of people. So, and NASCAR this weekend at one of the biggest modified races of the year at New Hampshire will be handing out decals as well to all of the NASCAR teams across every division that's racing there this weekend. So, Josh, Neil, I don't know if you want to touch on the subject,
well,
but it is.
I saw that Martin Truex Jr. had even shared a tweet about it as well. I mean, just to show you how far-reaching it was. I mean, Truex obviously, being from New Jersey, but at the top level, with the Cup Series,
right.
For it to impacted that far and that deeply, just is a testament to how well known he was.
Well, it was more than just like Martin. Like I saw Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Larson, Clint Boyer. Almost every NASCAR driver posted something about it because he didn't just do it for the short track guys. He did it for NASCAR as well. He paved 40. I think it was 46 NASCAR wheel and modify wins. Yeah. That's a lot. It might not seem a lot, but it is because they didn't race how they did back in the 70s and 80s when the tour first started, when they ran 3 tracks a week. It was one, skip a couple weeks and back again. I think it's definitely going to be a big impact with the indoors pretty much, and then at the Race of Champions races and stuff like that without them, But I personally think indoors is going to be a big, upset not having, that famous black or red 13, coming through basically. Doesn't matter where he starts plowing his way through, but in a fashion everyone loves.
Well, I remember him getting into it with Blewett in Atlantic City the one year and flipping pretty much over top of Blewett, and that was right in front of me. And, it was entertainment. He was, the thing that I've seen as being most common among all the posts was, love him or hate him. Because he was that person that, everybody loved to, boo and things like that. But it was excitement. He brought entertainment. He was, he made it a bigger show. Whether you liked him or you didn't like him, you were watching. And that was important.
To touch on something that you were saying, Josh, about the far-reaching effects of this. Sunday, I had the privilege to spend the day with the Wall Stadium Sunday Series. And the kids in the Silver Sportsman red plate carts decided they wanted to run a 13-lap feature instead of their traditional 15-lap feature in honor of TC. And they actually put homemade 13 decals on it. And the only story that I have about TC, which Alan Brenner asked me to tell at the drivers' meeting on Sunday for the Sunday Series, Scott Marr introduced me to him at Stafford as the announcer at Wall Stadium. And I had met TC a few years ago when I was just a spotter for that late model team. And he ended up telling me then how much he hated the place. And when Scott introduced me, I thought I was going to get roasted. I thought he was just going to chew into me about how much he despises Wall Stadium because he never liked it in terms of a racetrack. Not because of the people there, just he didn't like, the style of racing we have for modified. And when I said, he said, he's like, I really want to come run Turkey Derby this year. And I said, Ted, when I met you a few years ago, you told me you hated that place. In fact, his exact words to me were, I hope they fill it up with water and make it a pond so I can go fishing there and not race there. And he said, I don't know if I'm getting older, dumber, or both. He said, but I really want to come run Turkey Derby this year. And from what I've heard, the wheels were in motion to have him in a very competitive car for Turkey Derby. And it breaks my heart that we won't see it happen. And in fact, when we left off that conversation, he said, hopefully I'll see you in November, So it's just a sad, sad situation. But I know that his memory and his impact will be honored. I saw Stafford's going to retire as number 13 locally and at the track, which I think is a good move by them. And with that, we'll move forward. I don't know if Sam, if you had anything else to touch on.
Well, I wasn't around for Richie Evans, but from what I've heard from people and what I've seen videos watching him and stuff, I really think we lost modern day Richie Evans here.
Yeah,
it's sad.
So with that, we will move on, and I think it's only fitting that a driver who came up the ranks through in a similar fashion has been having so much success in the premier level of stock car racing, and that is a guy that Josh already mentioned, and Martin Truex Jr., who ended up grabbing the win in the first chase race of the 2017 NASCAR playoffs. Truex did not have the best car. In fact, Kyle Busch appeared to have, but some pit road mistakes put him out, and Truex grabbed his 5th win of the year, and now he'll automatically advance to the next round of the playoffs, although I don't think he needed that win anyway.
Well, it's just going to help him because those points are going to accumulate. So, I mean, that he's going to get out of. But he overcame a pit road penalty as well.
I think 2. Didn't he have 2 penalties or something like that? I knew it was fast.
I know there was at
exiting,
least one.
And then I thought he had something else. But still, overcoming that, that ends a lot of people's days most of the time.
Oh, yeah. So to come back from that, plus having won the regular season championship, that was another 15 points, I believe.
Yeah.
That transfer. So he's
got a ton.
I think it's, 67 points already ahead?
Yeah. So I think he had a close to a 50-point lead.
It was 53.
50.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's absolutely a lot. And to show how much those points mean, news came out today about the driver who finished second at Chicagoland, Chase Elliott. And this is something that's a little bit odd. Apparently, a user on Reddit, which is a little bit of a social message board platform of a site, happened to notice that there was a piece of what looked like tape hanging off the rear spoiler, and then at the end of the race, when Chase was being interviewed, it looked as though one of the team members was removing that tape from the rear spoiler, and apparently it caught the eye of NASCAR. So they reviewed the car at the R&D center, and it was announced that there was a modification made for an aerodynamic advantage. An L1 penalty was announced, $25,000, suspension of one race for Alan Gustafson, and only 15 points for Chase, which knocks him from 6th to 8th in the standings. So he's still locked in by a pretty decent margin. I think he's 18 points above the cut line as of now. That seems a little light to me. For considering the fact that his finish is now deemed encumbered and he loses whatever bonus points that he had or playoff points he would have had. But I don't get it. We're trying to clamp down on the whole cheating thing, and now this is a playoff race. This is something that actually means a lot. I would think that if you get caught doing something as blatant as this, and I mean the video of the crew member removing the tape it looks bad. It looks as though he's trying to get away with 5-finger discounting a candy bar at a deli. It looks awful. 15 points and a one-race suspension is not enough. It's not enough.
Look what they did in the middle of the race time this week. They took Martin Truex and Kyle Busch's tires and put them underwater, see if they were poking holes in them.
Yeah, well, they're trying to. Apparently, there's a lot of discussion about potential bleeders on tires, which Ryan Newman got caught with a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest now. Should you be concerned with Truex and Kyle Busch? I mean, I wouldn't. Nothing can really slow them down, regardless of exactly what they're going to do. Take a certain amount of points away. Martin Truex is in the next round.
That's the thing.
You should be worried about guys like Newman and Kane and Stenhouse who need to make really well races the next few weeks because they're going to try to push the limit and cheat to try to get in the chase. For the next round.
If this is the penalty, why not? Why not take that risk? And especially if you're opposite end of the spectrum, you got nothing to lose like Truex. If I was them, I'd start pushing the envelope and say, hey, what can we do that we won't get caught with? Because even if you do get caught, all right, so if you lose Cole Pern for one race, you're still automatically in the next round anyway. They got to tighten up these
knowing that
penalties
NASCAR will be like, oh, wait, now you got to race your way in again. Knowing NASCAR, that's something they would do.
Oh, come on, Neil.
It's
this is NASCAR. Come on.
You never know. They might say, oh, well, you're in. Why do you have to cheat?
It took a Reddit user to point out to NASCAR what Chase Elliott was doing. Come on, Neil. Come on.
This guy.
We should get him.
There's something wrong with this.
Sam pointed
I missed
out
the weeks when he wasn't on.
Sam pointed out the 4 drivers who are currently at the bottom of the barrel: Newman, Kane, Stenhouse, and Kurt Busch. Still 2 races left to go. Again, if you win, you advance to the next round, or you have to point your way in and be in the top 12.
Don't count out Ryan Newman. I think Ryan Newman's going to come back strong. Like we did at Phoenix. He pulled that one out of his butt.
New Hampshire and Dover, New Hampshire especially, flat track.
For him.
The Xfinity Series set their playoff bracket on Saturday. Justin Allgaier ended up grabbing the win, which, all 4 Junior Motorsports cars are in the playoffs. And I was kind of wondering, you kind of push Michael Annett to the side because he and Brendan Gaum, the last 2 to get in on points. I don't think he's going to contend at all. But between Allgaier, Byron, and Sadler, I don't know who the favorite is. And I think that one of those 3 will definitely win the championship. And I think all of those 3 could end up being in the final race at Homestead. So that will be something to watch. And also, they're going to kick off their playoffs at Kentucky. Why do we go to Kentucky twice a year for the Xfinity Series? Is anybody?
Why do we go to Kentucky to begin with?
Like,
Eric
I don't.
Brennan?
I don't get it. And
I want to know why it's going from Richmond to Indianapolis for the final.
The balloons, Josh. The balloons.
If that's the reason, I'm okay with it. But in terms of the racing, I think they're trying to do everything they can, which this actually leads into something I wanted to talk about. Before that, the truck race also on Friday, Chicagoland, all 3 series were there. Johnny Sauter took the win. He's trying to win his 2nd championship in a row. Ben Rhodes and Ryan Truex tied for the final spot in the 8-truck playoff. And with that tie, it actually went to Ben Rhodes because he finished 2nd at Pocono as his best finish. Ryan Truex's best finish on the year was 3rd, which also came at Pocono. So it's amazing to think that the difference between being in and out was 1 spot in 1 race.
I think that was hyped up. They kept talking about that during the truck race. I'm like, okay, yeah, it was 1 position. It was that race, and it was those 2 guys. Okay,
I would have
fine.
dumped them.
But I just...
Yeah. Neil.
I don't know if he was able to get there, But now, with that, I think, especially on the Cup side, you're starting your playoffs, right? The racing product was abysmal. I mean, the race was not good. Aside from the pit road drama and the window dressing that is now the NASCAR playoff system, which gives you something to watch. Like, Josh, you just asked the question, why go to Indy for the finale next year?
Yeah,
why
go to a racetrack that you can't race at?
Well, because
if they do what they did with the Xfinity cars this year, which did help the racing, it got better. It got better than last year.
Is this Josh talking or Neil? Because I hear they're saying garbage out of your mouths.
I'm telling you.
No, Josh. If they're
going
to go to Indianapolis, they should go to IRP. Plain and simple.
Right, I'm on board with that. But I think the whole idea is, okay, if we add this element of that this race means something because it's setting our playoff grid, it'll make the allure of Indy a little bit brighter.
But does it really matter though? I mean, look at the amount of winners we had this year. We pretty much knew who was going to make the chase. Does Richmond, being at Richmond, Indianapolis, Daytona, does it really matter?
And I'll cite it to the lipstick on a pig quote. I mean, the racing was just not good. So if you have all this drama where you're following these 16 drivers who all have to run very well over the next 3 races, and even if the product's not that good, I mean, Jeff Gluck posted that poll that he has if you thought it was a good race. Only 30% of the fans polled said it was a good race. That's in the bottom 5 of the last 2 years in his polls.
That's probably the 30% that didn't watch the race but watched the highlight reel on NASCAR.com. It was like, wow, this seemed pretty racy.
It wasn't a good product. It wasn't at all. And I don't see how you could. And the stage racing helps. The chase format helps. But to the naked eye, it was not exciting. You can't watch it and think that this is playoff NASCAR. This means something.
That's because the track's too big.
Yeah,
you have guys putting tape on spoilers to get an advantage. Come on. We should go to the tracks. Having a spoiler doesn't make a difference, like Martinsville. That's all I'm saying.
I was so
Make NASCAR great again.
Well, speaking of making it great again, a couple news and notes that came out. Ironically, it kind of surrounds Casey Kane. First and foremost, Kane was announced that he'll be going to the number 95 team today. Levine Family Racing, replacing Michael McDowell. Sam, you're not happy about this?
Because Casey Kane can't win crap in a Hendrick car. Come on.
But now it's true though. He can't. He got lucky at Indy.
But Neil has a better chance of winning a Cup race than Casey Kane.
I do.
Nothing.
If we go to dirt, then he'll, whoop my behind. But, that's what I
might have. You would like that though.
But what are the chances
got money.
that the 95 team is the next Furniture Row? Like, what if McDowell was stunting the growth of that team? And if you put a guy in there like Kane, he could elevate it. I mean, and look, don't let the numbers fool you completely. Hendrick Motorsports has been abysmal. I mean, I don't put all the blame on Kane. They usually have one driver who far underperforms the other 3, or maybe 2 that far underperform the other 2. So, Kane may have just been the lowest common factor out of all these teams over the last few years, and maybe going to a team like the number 95, which renewed their alliance with Richard Childress Racing as well, maybe it'll allow that team to go to the next level, like what Kurt Busch and Truex did for Furniture Row.
I think this could happen, but if it won't happen if Richard Petty forms an alliance with Richard Childress, which that's what they're saying for next year.
Is it a handshake agreement?
Yeah, Richard Petty's not good with his hands.
The other bit of news that came out, which apparently there's a lawsuit between a marketing group to Hendrick Motorsports, and in that, according to Bob Pockrass of ESPN, there's detailed amounts as to how much goes into sponsoring a Monster Energy NASCAR Cup car. The number is ridiculous. $660,000 for a one-race deal is what the average comes out to. So if you sponsor a car for all 36 points races, that comes out to just about $24 million for the calendar year.
This money is
Series.
pennies compared to what Smithfield has been paying Richard Petty per season. $100 million per year? Come on, that's ridiculous. For them to wreck Danica Patrick every week and to run 32nd? Come on.
Is that really? I haven't seen the number on the Smithfield deal. I heard it's a good
huge,
one.
Yeah.
I heard it's a really, really good one.
It's bigger than the RPM podcast. That's all I'm saying.
According to Graham Rahal, this amount of money is enough to field 2 full-time competitive IndyCar teams when they're that
Where
high.
does Graham Rahal? Why does his opinion matter here? Stick to freaking racing your race car, pal.
Well, I'm just quoting the
got
facts
Steak and
of
Shake.
the number is astronomical. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't cost this much to field a stock car, even on a premier level. It should not be this high. Is this a problem? Is this something we could fix?
You know what the problem is? That money feeds these race cars, not talent. That's the issue. If you had talented race car drivers like Kyle Larson all the time, look, Kyle Larson lost his money. Target's gone. But now we're hearing Amazon come in. Why? Because Kyle Larson knows how to drive a race car.
Right.
Can that be the same about Casey Kane, Eric Amarillo? They can drive race cars better than me? Hell yeah. But compared to everyone else in the Cup Series? Hell no.
Sam, I think you could probably beat Eric.
This Eric or Eric Amarola?
Eric Amarola.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
Eric, not Eric.
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 The amount of money to
They're both
sponsor a Cup
horrible.
car,
How about that?
is it too high? Is that something we could rein in? Like, is there a way to police this or I mean,
Salary caps.
And the other thing is
You can't police it at all.
the problem is
salary caps.
well, that was something that was discussed by one of the RPM owners, but that's more towards the drivers. That's more towards limiting the amount of spending for the drivers, which
But what
is
difference
it's
does
hard
it
to
make?
police.
Richard Petty's not lining Eric's pockets with money. It's all that bacon from Smithfield. Literally.
He's bringing home the bacon.
And usually these sponsorship agreements are done like business to business. Like it's a personal agreement. Like, Neil, if I want to sponsor your race car, I'm not
hope he
gonna
does.
I'm not gonna tell Josh how much I'm giving you. We'll work out a
Might
deal
make
and
a
that'll be it.
return.
So I understand them being private, but now that these numbers are made public, you could have a team like Smithfield look in the mirror and go, uh-oh, we've been overpaying for a long time for a lot less exposure than what, Kane's been getting with farmers.
Yeah, but is it really, though? I mean, Smithfield got Richard Petty. They have the same colors. I mean, I ate ribs with them, for goodness sake. I mean, come on.
I guess it varies based on what you're getting in terms of bang for your buck, but that number is a problem. That's why. And the thing is, my issue with sponsorship has always been, if I could sponsor you for one race for $500,000 and still get the use of your car, the logo, all my hero cards, I have the paint scheme on my product, why would I waste the money sponsoring you for the entire season? The benefits are almost the same, minus the fact that my car hits the racetrack a little bit longer. The value of being on a car for a whole year isn't worth what it used to be.
What about TV time?
So that's the other additive of it. But if I get the licensing deals to sell my die-cast cars of the one time that I'm on your car and use it on my business cards and put it on my product and it's like the Waffle House deal with Amarola. Like they have a Smithfield car at a Waffle House every now and then. I think they're on the car 3 times a year. That's how you get the most out of your dollar. But if I'm a major business, why would I waste that money? $24 million a year to be on a race car? I can just do it twice. It's
Especially if they finish in the back.
they got to
Might as
figure
well
out a way to
sponsor
lower
like
this
Jimmy
number.
Johnson.
This number is way too high. Way too high. You're not going to get any new teams. We're going to be down to 24 cars if it stays that expensive to be competitive. And they're not even competitive.
He's into this now.
I
You
don't
sound
know.
like a grumpy old man. But now, real quick, I don't know if you guys can hear me because it's fading in and out here. But I bet you if Monster Energy does not come back next year, you'll see Smithfield as the series sponsor for the Cup Series.
I think Monster will definitely be back, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I have a feeling because Smithfield might be more interested in it. I mean, they're like, we're spending $100 million for a crap race. Let's spend $100 million. Have our names on all the race cars.
Well, with that, so, Sam,
What?
you would think you were in Baghdad the way that thing was just breaking up right now.
I don't know
That
why,
was
yeah.
not good. So with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back to the other side, we'll talk about the IndyCar finale at Sonoma and also Formula One in Singapore and a whole bunch more. You'll listen to the RPM podcast with Josh, Neil, me, and Trooper Sam overseas. We'll be right back.
My Wi-Fi sucks. Sorry, guys.
All right, this is Eric Graham from the RPM Podcast. Josh and Eric Brennan won't leave me alone until I do one of these read things. So, follow us at Facebook. Either search RPM Podcast, go to facebook.com/Racing Podcast New Jersey. Hopefully this sounds freaking organic enough for Josh because he won't leave me the hell alone about it. But here's your read. Follow us on Facebook. Do it now.
Welcome back to the RPM podcast. Josh Matthews, Neil Ruth III, Sam Ballard Jr.
Why did we start off with that? That was
What?
I don't know what.
I don't know. I just I don't know.
grabbed the bag out of nowhere.
I'm tired. Ooh, that didn't sound right.
It's okay. Nothing sounds right to your mind.
It doesn't. And I'm Eric Brennan. Now, Formula One had what I think is one of their best races of the year. I love Singapore. Anytime the original night race Formula One, and of course it had to rain right before they started it, so it was the first ever wet night race that they ever had, which sounds fantastic.
It does.
Right? Sounds like a great idea, Sam.
Yeah, the wetter the better.
Yeah. And the race kind of lived up to expectations.
Gina was real wet this time.
Yeah, if you haven't, Gina is Sebastian Vettel's car. If you
Gina was destroyed.
If you haven't noticed, Nick Rendo is not here, and the reason is because nobody knows where he is. Last I heard, he was seen crying on the edge of a bridge, and nobody has seen him since. So, in all seriousness, Nick is fine. I don't know where he is, but I do know that he cried on Sunday because the Ferrari team that he loves
Because
so
Vettel's
much
a moron.
ended up wadding up both cars before the first corner. So,
You know what? I give Nick Rendo credit. He can always blame someone else but his precious Ferrari team. He always finds a way to blame it on someone else.
So Vettel had the pole. Verstappen qualified second. Raikkonen was third, and Raikkonen got the best start of them all. Tried to go 3 wide for the lead. Verstappen was in the middle, and Vettel just came over and over and over until all three of them came together. Caught up in the mess was also Fernando Alonso. And
He
that
passed like a bunch of cars too on the outside. I was like, oh my
He
god,
was gonna run.
he's gonna make
Oh.
that stick, and then out of nowhere, just gets blasted from the side.
Yeah.
Bob Varsha was in the booth
like that,
for the
Sam?
race. So that was exciting to hear. And once the 2 Ferraris took themselves out, along with the single Red Bull, and of course Alonso, that kind of opened the door for Lewis Hamilton, the current point leader, to go on and win once again. I'm trying to remember who finished second. Why is this slipping my mind?
I don't know. I was pissed. I thought
Was it
Verstappen was actually gonna win.
Bottas?
I'm gonna have to-
The shoey, Ricardo.
I think it was Ricardo, and then
It was
Bottas
Ricciardo.
third. Yeah, I don't know why. I just had a total eclipse in my brain.
Now, but the funny thing, did anybody else notice that the time that it became a timed race because of the red flag, the delay, the weather, everything, and the time ran out, and Hamilton, crossed the line after it should have been the final lap, and they made him go around again.
Yeah, they probably missed it. I mean, I've heard of that happening before. In fact, it happened at a big late model race.
Yes.
This year.
What happens at Wall?
Where they
time?
ran-
They run extra laps.
Well, yeah. In this one late model race, not to get off on too much of a tangent, but they ran the extra lap and there was a change for the lead. Mm-hmm. And when they went back and checked scoring and realized they ran 1 lap too much, they had to revert the results back.
I heard one time they were.
Oh, that would piss me
I
off.
thought it was an ARCA race. They actually they
That's why it's
denied
important
that they. Sorry, Sam. Go ahead.
Well, that's why it's important in the driver's meeting to say that the flags decide the race and not what the lap counter says.
Yeah, I guess you could go with that. I mean, this was going to be race control telling them when to wave the white flag, but it's you have a timer, and if you're going to ignore it, go to a lap counter at that point, I guess, and that's what bugged me about it. But yeah, it's just a weird thing. I mean, the opening lap wreck and that extra lap were about the only eventful things during that race. Which,
Yep.
I mean, I didn't have my hopes up. I mean, 12 cars finished.
Once Hamilton got out front, you kind of knew it was all said and done. So
Yeah, save for an engine failure or something like that. But they were kind of single file. It wasn't a particularly exciting race beyond that. And again, with only 12 cars finishing, it was, there wasn't as much to watch. IndyCar was by far more exciting.
Well, I got mixed opinions on that. IndyCar had a better platform to make it exciting. 5 drivers still in contention to win the championship. A race that ran caution-free, and Simon Pagenaud ended up having
amazingly
the perfect,
caution-free. There was some contact and flat
Especially at that
tires,
track.
and
A lot of times they're running off the course and everything, and then sliding back.
I saw a GIF that showed Connor Daly getting run off road, and I think all 4 tires left the ground at one point, but still, never wrecked, and relatively clean race. I saw that there was a big piece of debris early in the race that they did not throw a yellow for. I don't know how they got rid of it, but Simon Pagenaud nailed down the perfect strategy to win the race. It was a 4-stop strategy, something which didn't work for guys like Elio Castroneves last year. And Joseph Newgarden did exactly what he needed to do, while his Penske counterparts kept a buffer between himself and Scott Dixon, and Newgarden ended up winning the championship.
Newgarden should have had the race won too. I mean, when he came out of the pits on the Reds, right behind Pagenaud. I mean, and I'm sorry, Pagenaud came out just ahead of Newgarden. So Newgarden had some heat in the tires on the Reds. I can't believe he couldn't get around him on that first half of the lap.
Newgarden said he liked his car in the Reds too. I mean, I'm with you, Josh. I was shocked that he couldn't get around him.
Yeah, he was right there. He should have been able to make the move. And then I think he tried doing an over-under at the end of the drag strip there. Was that turn 7 or something? And he just spun the tires coming off the turn, and just that was kind of it. So he settled for second. But
it seemed like he wanted to. And every time he got close to Pagenaud, Tim Cindric, his strategist, would come on the radio and just say, just be smart here. Don't do anything stupid. Just, keep it straight. And he did exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah.
IndyCar racing itself has gone through a little bit of an overhaul over the last 5 or 6 years. Ironically, Newgarden has been racing in the series over the last 6 years. We talked about a few weeks ago who we thought the better story would be. Now that Newgarden is in fact the champion, is it fair to call him a people's champion or somebody who may be able to attract people to the sport of IndyCar racing?
I think so. I think he's a great personality. I mean, Castroneves is a good one too, for interviews and things like that. And that would have been kind of a feel-good story only because, he's been trying, and this is possibly his final IndyCar race and all that, and it would have been, kind of nice. I mean, anybody but Will Power, I guess, would be good.
But even Will Power is like a good person for that sport, because because of his
Will
attitude.
Power's an ass.
I understand that, but once again, he's
Josh,
a good person for the sport because he brings those ass fans, I guess, to the sport.
Assholes to the sport? That's
Yeah.
great.
I like Will Power.
Of course you do, because you like assholes.
I do. I like everybody. I don't know why nobody knows this yet. Speaking of Elio, nobody's really sure what he's going to do yet. You can't say that Elio is what you're referring to Will Power. He's the polar opposite.
No, Elio is fantastic. He's like the racing Jesus.
Well, reports are that since Michael Andretti announced that he was going to stay with Honda, Chevy went to Roger Penske and said, hey, if we're not getting the Andretti cars, we want you to run 4 cars for us next year. And I think that means they'll help them do it. I have read that Penske team members have been told, while some of them were preparing for layoffs, they've been told that they are in fact going to have 4 cars next year, but a deal has not been signed to retain Elio for 2018. My question to you guys is, where do you think Elio will go, and where do you think Elio should go?
He's going to go to a sports car.
Hell yeah.
Something.
IMSA, baby. Go race with Jordan Taylor in the Daytona prototype class, whatever Jordan Taylor races. Grand Tour, whatever it is. Yeah.
I think you'll see him back with Penske one more time, especially because he played the part of what he had to do on Sunday. He held his position, and him and Will Power kind of admitted in the post-race interview. The goal was that unless something happened to Newgarden, he was the top dog, and they had to do what they had to do to get him that championship.
Yeah.
So it sounded like that Elio and Power kind of conceded defeat. Pagenaud, I guess, went the adverse direction. They just went on to win the race, but
maybe he'll go with Dancing with the Stars full time.
I mean, yeah, you could be one of the
It's
instructors
exposure,
on there.
I suppose. I don't know.
Now, as far as the finale itself, I found it to be a little bit anticlimactic, and I never, ever, ever liked.
What does that mean?
It wasn't exciting.
Not a lot of balloons.
Thank you. I mean, jeez.
What? That's not an SAT word. I don't know. Maybe it is.
No, it's not.
Maybe I'm not saying it right. Maybe the Staten Island accent's burying it. I don't know.
But are you saying
either
the
way,
race or the championship?
I don't remember a single IndyCar race in Sonoma that was breathtakingly exciting.
I thought there was you had Kanan with the tire going down, and there's people swerving around. I don't know how many cars put a wheel off into the dirt or spun, and I thought there was actually quite a bit going for IndyCar.
Right. I just think it's hard to pass there.
It was still better than the
It
Indy
is a pretty
500 as far
narrow
as I'm
track.
concerned.
You
It was
cannot
better
say
than the
that.
NASCAR race.
That you could say, Sam.
Except Tony Stewart's
So
running that
if
Sonoma.
you could choose where the IndyCar finale would be, where would you want to have it? Should it be an oval? Should it be a road or street course? Could you pick the track?
Bristol.
Texas.
So
That'd be insane.
like how it was in the old days. That IRL used to end their season at Texas for
I
years.
just how exciting that track has been the past 2 years, or
Put him
possibly
at
a bit longer.
Daytona.
Road course or oval?
Oval.
Oh man,
Oh boy,
What about the road course at Charlotte?
no,
It's
No.
the course
it's
kind
too
of
flat.
no, actually,
That's
the
what she
course
said.
kind of rolls over.
well let's
Yeah.
Like there's some parts of it, like if you make a right turn and then it just rolls over to the left of the track. So when you kind of got to make
So
a
it's
right
off
turn,
camber?
yeah, when you make a right turn, you got to go over a hill just to make your right turn.
I don't think it's a big enough of an elevation.
Run them on
change.
the inner track at Charlotte.
with the
the
legend,
little-
the
the
legend
little
track.
What? Then no passing.
Backwards at Indianapolis, like right turn instead of left.
Well, that'd be weird.
It still would be boring.
It'd be cool to watch.
But there's gonna be balloons.
No.
That's all that Eric Brennan cares
Balloons.
about.
No,
I like the balloon idea, but I'm more. I think Fontana was, or Auto
I
Club
hate
Speedway as it
Fontana.
is known now. I think that was the perfect fit. It was a high-speed oval. The racing was good.
no.
I mean, I think that's where it needs to be, but I don't think. I think you got to have it at the end of October. They were moving it around for year after year after year and shifting dates on it.
they don't
Yeah,
want to. Go ahead, Sam.
they end too early.
Yeah, I mean it's.
But they don't want to compete with that non-sport football.
Well,
Whoa.
well, that's why if I was them, I would have it on a Saturday night at the end of October, where they could just kind of take the headlines away from everybody. And but I
Put 'em in
thought
the Rockingham.
They won't though.
I mean, the Fontana race in 2015 was amazing, but I think it was amazing for the wrong reasons. It was pack racing, and we're lucky that nobody got injured. But if you go back to 2014, 2013, where the racing was breathtakingly phenomenal. And, I think ending on an oval is a little bit more exciting because you're guaranteed to have passing, you're guaranteed to have strategy, you're guaranteed to have unknowns, and the finish is usually in doubt. Where I
Or a
think
car
with-
in the fence usually.
I think, well, not always, but I think with 13 laps to go, we knew what the outcome of this race was going to be. So I'd rather see it on an oval.
IndyCar should race midweek on like a Thursday or Wednesday. Actually, no, like they should qualify on Tuesday and race on Wednesday, and I'd actually watch it because there's nothing
No,
else going
because
on.
then I
during the
can't
week.
go.
Where, though?
What do you mean where? I'm just talking in general.
Run them at
for
Waterford
IndyCars.
on their wacky Wednesdays that they do.
The IndyCar series do have standards. It's like
Well, yeah, but this is like a podcast. We can say whatever we want.
we can.
Yeah, yeah.
Heck, if
Thank
I want
you,
to see him
Neil.
at Wall Stadium, I want to see him at Wall Stadium.
It wouldn't be the first
no.
time.
No, you'd be lowering the standard of Wall having
Where
IndyCar
did
there.
an IndyCar test? Was it Trenton? Was Trenton the track where there was a big?
Trent was the track that had.
Or was
like
it
the-
Wall? Was there? Was
Meadowlands.
Roger Penske brought
It
two
was-
of Rick Mears' cars in '89
It was they were racing at the Meadowlands.
Sam?
that
Where?
weekend.
What track?
at
are you
Wall.
referring?
At
It
Wall.
was at
There's
Wall.
pictures. There's pictures on Facebook. My
Yeah.
dad was there.
See, I knew it was. I don't know why I didn't realize it was.
Well, that's like
Wall.
they brought the supermods the one time, and like they couldn't pass it all because they're supermods.
I have fiberglass in my hand, and it's annoying the crap out of me. I don't.
Anyway, I'm getting tired of IndyCar. What else do we have?
Well, the last thing I want to talk about is that apparently it's rumored that Verizon will not be returning as a series title sponsor, and also they have yet to finalize their 2018 schedule. Is this a reason of
Yeah,
concern?
Sprint's going to be back in the racing sport.
Yeah, should this be of concern for the IndyCar brass?
No,
um,
just they'll find another stupid carrier or stupid company to sponsor.
Monster Energy will pick them up.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have
They
two
pick
stupid
everyone else up.
divisions.
Why not IndyCar?
Or Red Bull will.
Well, that'd be
Oh,
weird.
that's a good idea, Josh. Except Red Bull actually wants racing. IndyCar doesn't produce racing.
Since when did everybody on this podcast become so anti-IndyCar? When did this happen?
Hey guys,
When-
Nick Rendo's alive.
When the racing stopped.
We went to we go to Pocono almost every I love it. I think IndyCar is the most purest form of motorsport we have right now. It's risky, it's energetic, it's exciting. The personalities are weird. They've had like 10
Eric,
different winners.
Just because it's risky doesn't mean it's good for you.
Dude,
Yeah, well-
modified racing's risky
Stop
sometimes.
talking about my life.
That wasn't going there.
I didn't go anywhere.
I don't know when we'll continue this because the IndyCar is dark now from now till next March. But
they have a lot to iron out, so they need that time to figure out what they're going to do. Actually, you're saying how they don't know what they're doing for 2018. We forgot to mention that Singapore got signed for 4 more years with F1.
Stark contrast.
4 more years. 4 more years.
We'll be hearing that in 3 years, I think.
Oh, my God.
Stark contrast, their next race for Formula One will be in Malaysia, which will be the last race there for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Before we shift to our local segment, I just want to talk to you guys about something that I saw. I've never seen something like this before. Kimmy Ling actually shared it. She works at the track with us. There's a track in I believe it's Indiana, called Kankakee County Speedway.
Hakuna That's why the tracks don't do well. They name it stupid stuff.
I know. This is Hakuna Matata Speedway Part 2.
Better than Five Flags.
Open letter from the track owners to all sponsors, fans, and drivers that have supported Kankakee, I can't say it, County Speedway in 2017.
Kayak Speedway.
Thank you. Although we have... I don't know where that's coming from.
I have...
Oh, I got baseball playing. Although we have considered 2017 a success due to relentless controversy throughout social media against, they got to put the name of the track in there again, Kayak County Speedway. Kayak County Speedway. We have decided to make the difficult decision to shut down for the remainder of the 2017 season. Tom and Dave had decided that it is not in our family's best interest to continue with this season. A group of people have put us in a position to make a decision that we do not want to make. Social media is killing the sport that we love as it causes negative impacts towards the morale of all involved. Sometimes we need to remember the old adage, quote, if you can't say anything nice, say nothing at all. So I'm not going to read the rest of the letter. If you want, you can go on their Facebook page and see it. But they're essentially blaming the negative role that social media has had as the reason as to them closing down their racetrack. I will quote Dave Green before you guys comment on this. Dave, also a competitor at Wall Stadium Speedway, really good fantasy player on all sports. If you have any advice, go to him. Quote, if the track was doing well, they wouldn't care. So...
Well, look at their name.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, they're not
First
doing
of all,
good because the people
thank
can't
you,
pronounce
Neil.
it to get there.
They need a rebranding. That's
They
number
need
one.
to be Kayak Speedway. Plain and simple.
No,
county.
What the freak? It's a car track, not a freaking...
Yeah, but like Ted Christer said, just fill it up with water.
That was a good reference. I like that.
Speechless, exactly.
I'm behaving tonight.
I will tell you, I think this opens up a little bit of a more broader discussion, which I've thought about. I really think that all racetracks, all racing series, even NASCAR, they rely way too heavily on the impacts of social media. And I mean, we all kind of do it. We throw something up there and we want it to garner attention and get something in there. And
At Eric Brennan.
Yes, and I'll cite.
It just popped in there.
That is not funny. I will cite something that Fox Sports Radio host Colin Cowherd said, which made me look into it. He said Twitter is not as big as you think, and he's right. According to a 2016 survey by the Pew Research Center, only 21% of all U.S. adults actually use Twitter. So you're taking an opinion off a very minority amount of people that are out there. I think the number was even lower than I thought. It's even if you take all the people who have internet access, which is it's 86% of the country, only 24% of those use Twitter as a social media outlet.
And the 14% of America that don't have Wi-Fi, they're at a NASCAR track?
Yeah, they probably are. But I don't know why social media is used as such a big barometer in order to judge
They need a scapegoat.
opinion.
Exactly what Josh just said. They were having a crappy time financially, and they decided not to blame their crappy management, but to blame their fans, which is awful business.
Now, even if that turns out to be factual, on a more larger scale, do you think that some people put too much stock into what some of the keyboard warriors say from time to time? Is it time to start turning a blind eye to some of the things that people put out there on a social level?
I think so.
I think there's a difference, though. I mean, like what we do here at the RPM podcast, we try to put positive, advertisement out there for local tracks and stuff. I think we do a good job at it. But, we're not sitting there bashing the racetracks. I don't think we ever bashed. New Egypt's ticket idea was pretty stupid, and then they realized that and they fixed it.
And Bowman Gray sucks.
Okay, all right.
I think that's the only track.
Well, my only beef in New Egypt had to do with the food. Everything else, I think they're doing a good job with. But yeah, I don't know. Just that's a new one for me. So
no, I think it's like I said before, it's a scapegoat thing, and I think that even ties into Dave Green's thing where it's if they were doing well, they positive or negative,
You wouldn't care.
Yeah, they'd be like, yeah, no, the more you talk about us, the better.
Well, think about this. What if there was another oval asphalt track in New Jersey? Do you think everybody would be like, people are pretty chill with Wall? Do you think if they had something to compare it to, do you think it'd be as nice on Instagram and Facebook and social media and stuff like that?
I think with the state of race of short track racing, not just in the country, but even more specifically New Jersey, if you look at there was a demo derby that was I want to say it was like Wisconsin or I don't know, Michigan or something like that. They had 140 cars show up the last weekend, and in New Jersey, no matter what track you go to, you struggle to get 5 to 10 demo cars, regardless of what division or whether it's like bone stock or if it's meant to be a little heavier duty. I think we're at a point where the tracks, if there was another asphalt oval in New Jersey, they have to work together. Okay, you run Friday nights, we'll run Saturday nights, something like that.
It's like Mahoning and Evergreen.
Yeah.
They ended up changing their shows to Friday nights because Mahoning runs Saturday nights, and everyone wants to go to Mahoning because it's the fishbowl. It's
the traffic circle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Where you can't pass unless you really want to make a fool out of yourself, or you have the balls, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's why. And then they changed their rules. Now they're running Fridays and then Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what Neil just brought up is rules. New Jersey has really a lot of rules at the end of the day that, like, look at the Jersey kit and the Legend cars. I have friends down here that own Legend cars and want to come race circuit here, but they want to put a Jersey kit in their car. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't be less safe, but, it comes a price where, it's just way too much money.
There are a few more hurdles for a short track racer to deal with in Jersey compared to most other states.
Sam has a point, and going into rules and safety and things like that, I forget the name of the track. They ended up shutting down, and they similarly tried to blame it on the social media aspect, but it was a lot of drivers were complaining because the track's insurance policy, or the insurance company mandated that all cars, every division, had a collapsible steering column, not just a straight.
What about one that falls off?
I wasn't bringing it up this weekend.
I beat you to
this time. It was all you.
Yeah.
He knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming eventually.
But and that was that cost more. And it was a lot of drivers were going to have to make a change to their cars to accommodate this. And the track is like, we don't. This is the insurance company said this is the only way that we'll insure you is if you make this a rule. We weren't going to make you guys do it. Like, please don't be mad at us. But there was a backlash on social media about it, and they were trying to blame the track was partially blaming that for the reason they were shutting down for the rest of the year, like until
I was almost denied to race in New York for a car being too safe because we raced Wall. I went to New York, and they literally said, your car is too safe. If you come back next week, you need to cut these bars out, and these bars out. I was like, wait, what? I am not cutting my my roll cage in half just to come 3 hours away to race the track,
It's insane.
At the end of the day, though, I mean, people are going to complain about everything. I mean, that's what people do.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I mean, why bother trying? And at the end of the day, if you're especially the fans, local short track racing fans sometimes are the worst. Facebook is so dangerous. If you think you can run a track better, try it. All those people on Facebook hating on Wall all the time, you put a white shirt on. Damn it.
We have every single week. There's at least there's a post, and it has over 100 comments every single week.
And I'm not saying your opinion doesn't matter, but if you think you can do a better job, or you want to help assist to make Wall Stadium even better, like better than what it is now, please, please.
Now I'm going to say that that you have to worry when they stop talking about you or stop talking about the track, because
that's true.
I think even if they're arguing over it, they're arguing over the track and it's staying fresh in people's minds.
Which I think, tying back to the whole social media thing, two things. One, I'll cite a quote that somebody important told me, and it was so important I forgot who it was. But it was, if you're going to come to me with a problem, you better offer me a solution. You don't see that in a lot of the banter on social media. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, you should be intelligent enough to distinguish intelligent conversation that is where the greater good is in mind versus
Just
a
fighting about
biased opinion where people are just going back and forth because they know somebody who was affected negatively by a decision that was made, right, wrong, or indifferent. So, you have to. It's no different than when you read things online and you see where the sources come from. You have to. Us as consumers have to learn how to compartmentalize these things, and a lot of race fans aren't able to do that, so it just sparks the flame to grow even bigger. And I guess for some tracks they can't handle it, but for others they turn a blind eye to it. And I think that's what they need to do. My opinion.
But you should still support your local short track. If NASCAR is racing on Saturday and you prefer to go to a NASCAR race, go to the short track.
Yeah, like a lot of people did this past Saturday at Wall.
I was at Concord.
Yeah, I want to hear all about that. Actually, how was it?
It was great. Concord's a fantastic racetrack. If you're in the Charlotte area and you don't want to do something different, if you want to do something different, Concord's great to go.
Some of the pictures that you were sharing, Sam, I mean, the sight lines there were beautiful. I mean, the sunset and the way the sky lit up and all that stuff. I mean, what? Stop. I'm into that stuff.
Oh my
I
God.
like skyline shots.
I love
Leave
the
me alone.
skyline.
Long walks on the beach.
I'm not going to lie. I took the picture and I said, Eric is going to get off on this picture.
All it needed was balloons, and it would have been perfect. I'm telling you, that could have been my new cover photo on Facebook, where people could yell at me about Wall.
For our listeners who don't know what Concord is or what it looks like, if you remember that Dale Earnhardt Jr. commercial with Goodyear, that track he's racing his old Camaro on, that's Concord.
Isn't it like a triangular-shaped track for the most part?
It's like a mini Pocono.
Yeah.
I was walking
I
through
was
the
gonna say
infield,
Nazareth.
I'm like, oh yeah, it's like Nazareth kind of too.
Their bandoleros put on good shows out there.
They do. Well,
As
they
like
race it at
the
a
kids
different
and
track.
everything.
They race at the quarter mile, not the half mile.
Okay.
But I was walking through the infield and I was like, crap, this track's been on TV.
I feel
So-
special.
No, it's a great track. It was a prelude to the modified shootout, which for those who don't know, they have a big north-south modified shootout in the first weekend or so in November this year. It should be a great show. The mods count was low. The car count was low. There's only 10 modifieds, but there were
been like
10
that for a
closely
couple of years.
speed-wise modifieds that put on a good race. It was a great show.
A lot of
Great
the
stuff.
guys from up here will go down for that north-south shoot. I know Adam Lasistro told me they were going to go. I don't know if Andrew Krause and their team decided they were going to go after that or not just yet. Stephen Reed's gone down there. In fact, Stephen had a terrible wreck there a few years ago.
Flipped out
which
of the stadium.
I think I got the video on my computer at home.
By the way, he's listening to this. He'll listen to this. He wants a T-shirt.
Yeah.
You got to give the man a T-shirt.
Well, I guess
Stephen, I reminded him on live television or radio for you. You're welcome.
Well, we have him. We just don't have his size. If he puts on a few pounds, I got plenty of 2Xs we can
You
give
can
him.
fit in an extra large.
So-
You can shrink them.
Yeah, I mean,
I
well,
shrink mine. Mine fits.
I don't know. We're gonna have to come up with a game plan or
Sam,
something.
stop.
He
Well,
can cut his like.
I'll tell you though,
hand.
Sam.
Yeah, like
Steven had a good day on Saturday. He ended up grabbing another win back to back. This one came at the expense of Ricky Collins, though, not because of Steven himself, but when Ricky, who led pretty much the entire duration of the race, when he caught the lap car, Tom Catanzaro had a really hard time getting around him, and that allowed Steven to catch up to him. And Ricky said that he kind of burnt the rear tires off the thing. And
You see, unlike you, I actually keep in contact with Stephen Reed, and I actually had a good conversation with him about it all day Sunday.
did you?
I did. I did.
Was he talking smack about me? Definitely was.
No.
He's lying through his teeth, this guy. No, Steve, I know. We talked very briefly on Monday, him and I. But yeah, I gotta check out his GoPro footage because I love watching that. Steven uploads his and you can check it out. I don't know his YouTube channel name, but he uploads GoPro footage from his car every week, and just I can't fathom how fast they're traveling and how they're open
It's
suspension
insane.
race cars, and I don't know how they do what they do.
By the way, I saw that Teresa Collins won her first heat race.
Yes, she did.
she did, and started on
she-
the pole for the
he
feature.
raced
She's up
winner.
there with the rankings with Eric Graham. So congratulations to Teresa. And as for Ricky, you drove your ass off. Props, but your time will come.
Yeah. And that's something cool that I want to touch on, and not because I consider Stephen Reed to be a friend of mine, but last
don't?
week when he won, no, I do,
They're not
but
friends.
I'm not saying this because
He
of
tries to be
that.
his friend.
I think, well, I don't know.
All right, just go on with your
Either way,
story.
last week when he won, he gave praise to young driver Kenny Van Wickle. Then this week he gives praise to drivers like Ricky Collins. If I'm a young and up-and-coming driver, like that would mean something to me. Like this guy's your reigning champion. This guy's been around the sport forever. He's watched his dad race. The family's involved, and to start to earn some of that respect to the point where Steven will acknowledge it publicly. That's got to feel good. Even though Ricky didn't go home with the checkered flag check or the trophy, that still has to mean something. I don't know, like as young racers, right, Neil and Josh?
Well, I've raced
when you
against
first started and you got approached
you're
by
calling
guys
me
who
young.
were, well, when you were younger, you know?
You're still
mean,
young,
I'm just
Buck.
saying you're.
Yeah, well, when you were just getting your feet implanted in the sport, if you ever had a moment where that veteran guy or that guy who's been there, done that before, and they've come up to you and said, you know what, you're doing a good job, you're doing this or whatever, did that mean a little something extra to you as opposed to, just hearing good job from your friends and family?
Just when I was at the track a few weeks ago, when we did the little helmet drive thing for me,
I
and
love that.
Riggleman won,
Yeah.
and he dedicated the win to me, and I can't tell you how much that meant. Even that. The people, like when I won that Consi race, the people, even from other divisions that came over and congratulated me. I mean, it was amazing. So, to people who say, you're doing the right thing, you're doing well, keep it up or whatever, and offering it's incredible the support system that you have.
Neil, those words of encouragement, when they come from somebody who's had success before, does it mean a whole lot more to you?
It really does. Like when I raced my way into the Garden State Classic, we got there late, obviously, because that's how we are.
Because it was a Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday, yeah. So we showed up with our, my dad's truck and an open trailer with the modifier on the back, and they were like, "Hey, you got to park on the front row. It's the only spot left." And who do I park in the middle of? Stephen Reed and Jimmy Blewett.
Wow.
The guys I've been watching my whole entire life, And you just see, there's Jimmy Blewett. He's an intimidating driver. When you're in front of him, you're like, oh God. Same thing with Steven. It's definitely Steven when he's got the Batman symbol in the front of the car.
Oh yeah.
That's intimidating when that's coming at you. I love it. I've always loved that car. That blue. The body just looks amazing. Making that race, I hate Sam. Just making that.
I'm with Sam on this. one.
Just making that race and pulling in the pits and I saw everyone was there.
Yeah.
There was a boatload of people there, and just starting the race with all those drivers that I've looked up to and watched my whole entire life. That's that's something that you definitely will always remember.
It's got to be a consolation prize for Ricky, even though he ended up having to muster up only a sixth-place finish. Reed got the win. Blewett was second, the point leader, so thus he didn't really gain maximum points, but he still held his ground in the championship lead. Andrew Krause was third, Derek Hopkins fourth, and Sean Carrick was fifth. Speaking of young drivers who are doing very well, Garden State Quarter Midget Racing graduate Jake Nelke ended up grabbing the win in the Sportsman race. That was a hell of a race that Kenny Green took the lead from him on the outside under green, and then had a tire go down or something break on the right front, which gave the win to Nelke. Bob Haverstick got his third win of the year in the factory stocks over
That
Mike Montano.
was an interesting race.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just one moment. Brian Osborne extended his point lead as he beat out Jeff Loesch and TJ Graves to grab the four-cylinder feature, and Brian Doyle went back-to-back and extended his point lead in the limited late model 30-lapper. Factory stock race. Wow. Jerry Koenig and Richie Byrne, who, according to Koenig, have a little bit of history together, ended up having that come to a head after they got together in Turn 3, in which Koenig thought that he was done wrong and elected to drive into Byrne under caution, and he did not stop until they both ended up in the guardrail. I saw Jerry late Saturday night, and he said that he felt he did what he needed to do to protect himself and defend himself. It may be at the expense of his racing days at Wall for the remainder of the year. It was certainly an exciting moment that fans will not forget, but
there was some video of it, which was interesting. I mean, it at the very least, it was entertaining for the fans.
It did put people on their feet. It really did.
And you need moments. I mean,
in a wrong way, but it did.
I mean, I like Richie Byrne. I mean, I like everybody at the track. Like, I don't know if there's a single person that I don't like, which is my problem. I need more hate in my life. I got to start hating people. I'm not good at this. I don't. Sam, what are you doing?
I can't believe that you're saying you like watching drivers wreck each other under yellow.
Well, hold on a second. I understand that there's going to be. I hate to see. Richie was able to continue the race. Thank goodness for that. And actually, I think Jerry's car got more damage than Richie's did. And I like Jerry too, and I understand the differing of opinions. But as a fan, you got to see something that makes you remember the night. And that's something that I think a lot of those people are going to go home and they're not going to forget.
In my opinion, it was a stupid thing to do. But, like you said, it does make it exciting. And sometimes you need that for the fans.
This is why we need Josh at the track to record it all so we can have thrills and spills at the end of the year.
Yeah. It's like...
Because that was a thrill and that was a
It'd
spill.
be more thrills.
all rolled into one. All rolled
It would be
into one.
thrills and sportsmen. That's what it would be.
Pretty much. There was a lot of racing that went on at Wall. They had a quarter midget race Friday night, which a couple of guys ended up going out to. Neil, we tried to get you there.
Sorry, I went out to Red Lobster with my dad.
Legend Car
Sorry,
guys, Nick Van Wickle, Vinny Troya. I was able to go down there and hang out for a little while. Brian O'Shea came through. I'm forgetting somebody. Vinny Troya's fiance Nancy was there, and I still feel like I'm forgetting somebody.
Joey.
And
you got
Joey
to have
Bailey.
fun on Sunday. You said working.
Yeah, the Sunday series was there
That
as well.
series is awesome.
It was. I was never a corner worker before, at least not on a racetrack. So it was the first time that I was able to have some fun.
It's about time you did something useful.
Talking's not enough. Apparently,
When you posted that picture, I was waiting for Sam's comment because I knew it was coming.
Also,
Listen, I've been corner working for like the last 4 years now. I'm an expert at the corners.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I got to figure out how to hold the flags right. It's like I think at one point my red flag unfurled itself.
You know what
and I almost
amazes
had a
me? You expect
disaster.
someone else to do the work on the pole, but when they hand you a set of poles, you don't know what to do with them.
No, I don't. But
Oh God.
on a
I wanted to say real quick. We forgot to mention something that was important regarding Formula One, which was there. I believe Hamilton had a 3-point lead in the championship going into Singapore, and that went to 28 points, I believe it was, at the end, thanks to Vettel being an idiot. So, talk about screwing yourself and your team and everything else.
It was a lot. Also, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Coulthard, who's the dude we went to go watch at the quarter midget track on Friday. If you don't know, the cool thing on how I got to know Ryan, when my get personal for a minute, my nephew got sick. Ryan heard about it, went to his parents, and Ryan apparently was saving up his money so when he gets old enough he could buy a truck. And he told his parents that he wanted to take the money out of his own allowance and donate it to my nephew's fundraiser. And his parents, Warren Coulthard and Shannon Coulthard, they thought they were so taken back by the gesture. They said, "You know what? Why don't you write Matthew a letter, and we'll match what you wanted to give to him." And the whole thing came together, and it meant so much to my family. So I've been trying to follow Ryan through his racing career. It was his birthday, turned 11 on Friday, ran 2 races, finished second in the first one, won the second one, and then he matched those results again on Sunday in the big race. So in the Butler Memorial event that they had. So that was cool. And Ryan is such a good kid. And in fact, 11 years old, and he just posted up a thank you to his 2 parents on Instagram. And I'll tell you, the kid is so well-spoken. He's going to be something one day. And I can't wait to watch it all unfold. The kid is that talented and that good and that gifted and that well-spoken. And pretty much all the quarter midget guys are. I mean, I never had that much respect for quarter midget racing until I actually went and started seeing it. And now, I'm tempted to go there every week. I have a problem. I just
That's the least of your problems.
So. Joey Bailey had a hard wreck too.
Yes, we were talking about Mahoning. He went there for the TQ event and apparently went out for practice, only a handful of laps in. I think he said he ran like an 8.7-second lap there, which is about 112 miles an hour average.
Full throttle.
And the throttle stuck at the end of it's not a back straightaway, but what would be the back stretch.
The back part of the bowl.
And he destroyed the right side of the car. Apparently, I don't know if there was an ambulance there or not, but he didn't get checked out. He ended up taking the trip back home, and he's a few days removed. He's feeling okay, but that was scary for one of our podcast guests, but I'm glad he's okay. It's been a rough string for that kid. I feel terrible.
Yeah, he's had a rough couple of races. The luck's bound to turn around eventually, though.
It will.
But it happens to the best of, the drivers. They have bad luck, and then out of nowhere they spring up a couple wins.
He's got to keep his head in it. That's all.
All right.
So we wrapped up Ladies' Night at Wall Stadium Speedway. This Saturday, we have a couple of special things that are coming up. It's one more fan appreciation night that we're going to have. It's pretty much a pack-the-track night. Adult tickets are only $10. Kids tickets are $5, ages 6 through 12. 5 and under, of course, are free. Carnival games will be there. I know they were a big hit the last time they had them. You will have tickets available that you can win. You can redeem them for prizes.
Are there balloons?
And they are free of charge. What?
Are there balloons?
I hope so.
Do you know I missed every fan appreciation night this season?
Well, that sounds
I missed
like
the first one.
Whose fault is that?
you have something to fix, Samuel.
That's true. Maybe I'll come back this weekend.
In terms of the racing action, we will have the Sportsman, limited late models, factory stocks, 4-cylinders, and legend cars back after a week off, and there is supposed to be at least one Demolition Derby on the calendar, although it sounds like we may have 2.
Ooh.
Heck
That
yeah.
was weird.
So
We have to have a podcast demo derby.
penultimate round. And
Sponsor.
also, I didn't realize that the season finale, which will be September 30th, so we only got one modified race left on the calendar. So, wow.
Steven, you need more wins.
Yeah. Double Points Night will be the finale on September 30th. For full schedule, details, and information, simply visit wallspeedwayracing.com. I'm done.
All right. Well, what have we learned today,
God, I'm
guys?
tired of hearing you talk.
Sam?
I've learned that the new Xfinity logo they just released like 10 minutes ago is ugly as AF.
Oh, what? My phone died. I can't see it. I gotta go home and see that.
Neil?
I don't miss Sam anymore. I really did, and then now I don't. But he
There you
does
go.
give
There you
some.
go, Sam.
Oh, that
Neil,
is ugly.
that-
That is horrible font.
It's like
Yeah.
looking at a picture of Neil.
Yep, exactly. My point.
Eric, what have you learned?
I'm so happy that I'm not the target anymore. Well, not the biggest target anymore. Well,
You're not big.
so not
Oop,
even that.
and it's back.
What? I'm trying to think. I'm usually really good at this, and I don't know.
Stephen Reed's Batman. I learned that today too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You guys, have you ever even seen that before?
The Batman logo.
Yeah.
It was
haven't.
yellow to start the year, and that's when it stuck out to me.
Well, no, because when they time trial, they put a cover.
Oh, they,
Neil knows what's
right.
up.
That's what
Yes,
they do.
exactly.
Neil, you know what it is? Eric Brennan doesn't spend time in the pits, so he wouldn't know those things.
I've been better. I've been trying to mingle with my driver counterparts,
I
so I can
seen
find
that.
more people that I like.
Well, no, that's what I like about what he does. Like when he gets to the track, he's in the pits first. He doesn't just sit in the tower like a lot of.
I used to.
announcers do.
I used to be so
Yeah,
shy.
well,
Well, you don't know that. What? I'm a shy little butterfly. Now I'm trying to bloom into a social. No, I was a shy
You're an annoying
caterpillar.
piece of crap. That's what you are.
And now I'm
he's a shy
trying to be a
butterfly
social
that's trying to find
butterfly.
some more hot dogs.
So, no, I don't. I think I'm over the hot dog thing.
Anyway,
Uh-huh.
nothing?
What did I learn?
Yeah.
Hesitation.
Yeah.
No breathing.
I learned that Richard Petty is not good with his
That's all.
hands. I
was
learned
pretty
that Gina got wet and then got destroyed. And I learned that
God. Oh my
and I learned
God.
that Sam is an expert at working the corner.
Again, Gina is the name of Sebastian Vettel's race car. He gives his cars the names of females. That's all it is.
That he slept
And
with,
I'm
or-
single, and if you like the corners, hit me up.
You got to fly to him though.
He's grand.
I think this is the first time ever that I'm not sure if I learned anything today.
Obviously.
I like too many people.
No,
I need more hate in my life.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
to hate some people. Don't apologize to a lot of people.
I'm very forgiving. I don't hold grudges, really.
Well, start holding
Oh,
grudges.
gosh. End the show, Josh.
Yeah.
I need to start holding grudges. Oh, we're done? All right, cool. On behalf of Sam Ballard Jr.
we're done?
out of UNCC, Neil Rutt III, Josh Matthews, the absent and sorrowful Nick Rendo, I'm Eric Brennan. Hope you all have a safe, fantastic week, and we'll see you next time on the RPM Podcast. Good night, everybody.
Go to wall.